Good morning and welcome to the Sports Debate Podcast. I am BA along with James J. Train Martin and Jack Hirsch. Hope you gentlemen are doing good this morning. Just real quick, just on a little side note on the sports, USA men's soccer team did not qualify or advance after their 4-1 drubbing by Belgium. We have quite a few summer leagues starting up for the NBA. And training camp is getting ready to start for the NFL. Other than that, we should get right into our debate questions today. We have really good debate questions, of course, provided by Jack. And the first one will be, speaking on NFL, should the Minnesota Vikings make Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy compete for the quarterback position, or should they name a starter now? Let's go to James on this one.
Hey, age before. Oh, excuse me. That's the wrong way, man. Beauty before age today. Funny, we were just talking about age in regards to cost of transmission before we got on the show. I think. Look, that was a really intriguing question, Jack. Because on one hand, Kyler Murray is a player that is showing you some dominance early on when he played with Arizona. And that he showed he's a very capable quarterback. But on the other hand, if you're Minnesota, you have a quarterback that you just spent 2 first-round draft picks to go up and get. And I really think it should be a competition because you have that investment in that player. I'm not going to just say you just sit him on a bench and let him sit and ride behind Kyler Murray, because Kyler Murray's best year was in 2020 when he threw for 3,971 yards and rushed for 819 yards as a dual threat quarterback. That didn't make the playoffs. And so he's had a couple of injuries that have set him back a little bit. But that being said, you've seen what you're going to get from Kyler Murray. We don't know if we've seen the best yet for J.J. McCarthy. I think that that J.J. McCarthy definitely may have some better to give you, but I don't know for sure. He threw for 1,600 yards, 11 TDs, 12 interceptions last year. But mind you, this is a guy that had very limited offensive snaps as a starter, it being that he's had a couple years in. So you don't know what his ceiling truly is. That said, I think it should be a competition. And if it is a competition, I still think that Kyler Murray is going to win. He's going to win the competition just because of his experience and the level of play that he's shown. But I still would make it a competition just because of the fact that you invested a lot of capital, draft capital, into this player, and you need to see what you get with him. That being said, again, I just told you exactly what I think. I think it should be a competition, but I don't think he's going to win it.
It absolutely shouldn't be a competition. And the only reason they make this a competition, or they say so, is because if you give the job to one guy over the other, and that quarterback gets injured, then the next guy you go to feel, well, I wasn't really a number one guy. I mean, they're concerned about other people's feelings. I wouldn't be concerned about JJ McCarthy's feelings at all. And I don't want to hear JJ McCarthy wasn't given a chance. He was given a full chance. He didn't play well. Even Justin Jefferson, one of the great receivers and great gentlemen in I kind of lost my picture with you guys a second. I don't know why. You guys see me okay on the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. But one of the great receivers in the NFL, one of the great gentlemen, he actually trolled JJ McCarthy a little bit, at the end of the year. He didn't have a quarterback to really throw to him. Now, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, weren't they in the same draft class as JJ McCarthy? They've come through. I don't want to hear he's been injured. Then he's injury prone. Okay, it doesn't mean he's not a good person. He's just not a quarterback that's going to be available for you on the field. You can't count on him after these 2 years. And once again, he didn't play that well, JJ McCarthy. Kyler Murray actually has more upside, even though you can debate that. The Minnesota Vikings got Kyler Murray in large part to change the culture in the room, okay, to change the culture of the team, and to give them a lot more hope that this is a new beginning. To have to run it back with J.J. McCarthy as your starter won't be a good thing. And once again, you have a quarterback competition. How is Kyler Murray going to feel that he lost the quarterback competition to J.J. McCarthy? I mean, it's going to give you a bad look. And how's J.J. McCarthy going to feel? He's going to feel even more diminished. Let him come in as the backup. Explain to him on the side, look, you've been hurt, you've been injured, you've been this, and we'll work you in. I just don't like the idea of these quarterback competitions for the most part, because you want to have team morale, and to have one guy beat out another guy, I don't think that's good for team morale. The only reason you'd have a competition is if you can't figure out who your starter is going to be. I can understand it at Cleveland somewhat with Deshaun Watson and Shakur Sanders in this sense. Sanders was third string last year. If he loses the competition, he's the primary backup. He's still gotten promoted over what he was last year. He's still taken a step forward. And Deshaun Watson might have one foot out the door as is, because he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Cleveland's not sure what's going on. So I can at least understand the competition there, even though I would just give the job to Deshaun Watson and make Shakur, Sanders the backup. But, it's what it is there. But with Minnesota, absolutely, Kyler Murray should be named the starter. J.J. McCarthy's the backup. And if by some chance, the Vikings need to make a quarterback switch at some point because Kyler Murray isn't playing that well, then you bring in J.J. McCarthy. But don't give me a competition here. We know what both guys can do.
Yeah, I'm going to let B go in a minute, but you're always talking out of both sides of your neck, man. How are you going to say on one hand that you don't think it should be a competition, but you also think that you're going to be concerned about Kyler Murray's feelings if J.J. McCarthy, if it's a competition and J.J. McCarthy wins, and we're concerned about feelings? What NFL team that's concerned about anybody's feelings in any matter, if anything?
Well,
I mean, first, hold on. These guys are leaders of men. These are leaders of men, and they're playing a violent game. So nobody should be concerned about anybody's feelings, for one, in that regard. What they should be concerned about is the best option for our organization and our team. And I agree with you that I think that if it's a competition, I just believe that outright that Kyler Murray is going to beat J.J. McCarthy. But because of what they've invested in J.J. McCarthy, you have to at least get him to. You need to have competition. That's what sports is about. It's about competitive spirit. You got to figure out if you're the best, if you're able to take this position, and if you don't get it, fine. You just figure out a way to get it later, but you don't win right now. But you got to compete, man. That's just the name of the game. You're at the highest pinnacle.
James, I mean,
You said what?
The implications. Urban Meyer, when he coached at Jacksonville Jaguars, they drafted Trevor Lawrence #1 overall in the draft. Okay, had Urban Meyer said he's going to sit the first year, he's going to be the backup the first year. Had he said it from the get-go, it's understandable because the Giants did that with Eli Manning. You know, you sit in the beginning, of the Chiefs did that with Patrick Mahomes. That's a bad example. They said, you're going to sit behind Alex Smith for 1 year. Everyone knew what the deal was. Even though I thought they should have started Mahomes right off the bat, that's fine. They were very clear. So they didn't set Patrick Mahomes up for failure or anyone up for failure. But Urban Meyer called for quarterback competition between Trevor Lawrence and Gardner Minshew. Imagine Minshew outplayed him in training camp. That meant Trevor Lawrence, your #1 overall pick, your franchise quarterback of the future, would have failed. You would have set him up for failure in front of the team. You lost out on the competition. Right there, you're dealing with major negativity. It was an idiotic move by Urban Meyer. One of the reasons he's not the coach there anymore because of boneheaded moves like that. You know, in this one, I could understand Kyler Murray let down Arizona after a while. Should have been their franchise quarterback. I get all that. But they brought in, you know, Kyler Murray to give the Vikings a lot more hope that they finally got their quarterback, you know, and let J.J. McCarthy reset. Maybe Kyler Murray doesn't play well. And as I said, then you have J.J. McCarthy come in.
But what if he never resets? We just don't know. So I think the competition allows you to see what you can get out of him. I just think that, yes, sports is always about competition. If you, like you just mentioned, the kid Trevor Lawrence, he was the #1 pick. It's almost, and then there was really nobody to be in competition with. I'm looking at.
They did call it a quarterback competition for who would start for Jacksonville his first year. Urban Meyer said him and Gardner Minshew would be battling it out. And the point is, you can't have your #1 overall pick in the draft lose out on a competition in the first training camp, because if he does, the narrative going forward is going to be very bad. You know, the hope of this guy being, you know, your franchise quarterback, it gives it a bad look.
I don't know, man. I just think that, I mean, that's neither here nor there. That long ago. At some point, you still have to make sure that your quarterback, regardless of what position he's picked at, has to understand that there's competition. But you want the best out of your guys, out of the guys that you presume are going to be. You telling me they really wanted Gardner Minshew to be the starter in that situation?
No,
of course not. I know that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
Gardner Minshew, if it's a competition, you have to judge on what they did during that competition. If Gardner Minshew outplayed Trevor Lawrence, you've got to now start him. Otherwise, you're being a complete liar and a hypocrite and a phony by calling it a competition and then not honoring that.
Likely. I'm just telling you. Look, you want your best guy to win. You want the best guy. You're wanting him to win, but you got to make sure that you have competition.
James,
again,
the Raiders. Let me ask you this: the Raiders, Fernando Mendoza, Kirk Cousins. The Raiders have been. I think they've been clear at least. We all feel Kirk Cousins is going to be the starter, and Mendoza is going to sit behind him the first year. That doesn't set Mendoza up to fail. We might disagree with that move. We might, and it depending on who you talk to. But at least everyone knows the score. And when Mendoza finally gets his chance, there's going to be a lot of faith and belief in him. But if he goes to training camp and he competes against a more experienced Kirk Cousins, Cousins might look better. And if you give Cousins the job, you diminish Mendoza.
But I guess we're talking about apples and oranges here, because Kirk Cousins has a wealth of experience. When you were talking about those other two quarterbacks, it was very limited for both. I'm just it's almost a given that Kirk Cousins should probably be the starter in Las Vegas. This situation right here with these two quarterbacks, again, I'm looking at JJ McCarthy again coming in. We just don't know. I think I want to, if especially if I'm under a guy like O'Connell. I'm O'Connell, man. I want to see what we got in this guy. I want to see what we have in this kid, because at the same time, you don't have a lot of time before you may have to send him off somewhere or trade him somewhere if you don't want him. If you know if he's not your guy, I kind of want to see what I got with him now, especially if he's injury prone. That looks like that might be a problem long term. So I need to see what he got now. I need to see what the issue is. You know, if there's more issues to come with that, and if he can play football or not as a competent starter. I need to find out what's going on. I mean, we're talking about, I saw what one of the guys said there about him learning. I mean, you can learn on the go right now. That's just how the way the league plays right now. I just think that you need to compete. And again, I just don't have the confidence in him. I'll be honest with you. I think that Kyler Murray will likely win the starting job, but I think I need to still see some competitive edge out of it, especially being called out by your own teammate. Yeah, well, I need to see what you got. I need to see if you can come back and fight back and be that guy. You need to do that now. That's just the way the game is right now. But B, I'm done with that. Let's see what you got, B.
All I gotta say is that it'll be a competition, and yes, Kyler Murray will win. And the only reason why I'm saying that because he does have the veteran experience doesn't mean that he is a better quarterback. I'm just saying he's not. First of all, Minnesota screwed themselves out a couple of years ago. This whole situation panned out because they picked J.J. McCarthy way up there, traded with the Jets to get that first-round pick to get him, which was dumb. That's why that GM is not there anymore. Because he's not there anymore. So what Minnesota has in the last 3 years is basically you got to look at it like they tried to ride with the J.J. McCarthy thing by getting rid of what's his face for Seattle and
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold. And they could have kept Sam Darnold and still had J.J. McCarthy underneath him, tutor him, because Sam Darnold is a veteran quarterback, and he's a pretty capable veteran quarterback. Not the greatest quarterback ever, but he's a capable veteran quarterback. He is kind of like what Cousins is to Mendoza right now. But instead of doing that, they let him go to Seattle, where he apparently won. He went to win Super Bowl. Could have been the same case for Minnesota. I'm not saying they could have won a Super Bowl with him, but at the same time, he gave them a better chance. And Minnesota was 9-8 this year. So that tells you with J.J. McCarthy. And that's because and all of this doesn't stem from the fault of J.J. McCarthy, because you got to look at it. He got thrown under the bus. He really did. You got picked too high. He should never have been picked in the first round. He should have never been picked in the first round. McCarthy is not an elite quarterback, and he's barely a franchise quarterback. Okay, barely, if you want to put it that way. Now they're getting Kyler Murray, and the reason why they're getting Kyler Murray because now they're desperate because they see it didn't work last year because you messed the whole situation up in the first place. Now you got to go get Kyler Murray, spend 2 first-round draft picks on Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray is not the next best thing since a couple. He's certainly not Sam Darnold, that's for sure. So we got to see where Kyler Murray goes. Now, I think the competition will be fine. I think Kyler Murray will win it, but that's because of experience. But I can't tell you if Kyler Murray is going to be the answer for Minnesota this year. I really can't, because I don't think he's that good. I think he's a capable quarterback. I don't think he's that good. And so it just sees what happens with the makeup of what's going on the team. They got pretty good offensive weapons. They got a pretty decent offensive line. So we'll see where it goes from that point. And yeah, KOC is the coach, and he's a quarterback whisperer, like everybody thinks he is. But anyway, the point of the matter is if it's still based on the individual at the end of the day. So if Kyler Murray is not doing it in Arizona, I'm not sure he's going to be able to do it in Minnesota. But we'll see. But he will win the job. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the whole point. There's going to be competition because they got to have competition. And then Murray will win the job, and we'll see what goes on further in the rest of the season. I'd be different. You know, you're mentioning different scenarios with the rest of the league about, you know, quarterbacks, and you said one about Jacksonville, Jack. But everyone has a different situation. This is kind of a different situation too, with you know, the competition and what's going on in Minnesota. The quarterback, they just screwed that whole thing up. I don't think they're going to get that thing right for the next couple of. I don't know how that's going to be.
Well, just very quickly, the funny thing about it, you mentioned Sam Darnold. They also could have maybe worked that out with Daniel Jones, who was, you know, on their roster too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This is a whole bunch of. It was just a comedy of errors with the quarterback position for Minnesota, and I kind of was disappointed in that because they could really be a competitive team if they had a capable quarterback at the helm. And like I said, we can't really say that not about Kyler Murray. We just got to see what goes on. We'll wait and see with him. So it is what it is. But you're like, I think everybody is agreeing that competition will probably be good for both the quarterbacks. I don't think JJ really thinks he has. I mean, as a quarterback, I think you'd have to have competence to win that starting job. So you would want to have that confidence as well. But I think deep back in his mind, he knows he's not starting because they wouldn't have traded, you know, draft picks to get Kyler Murray for him to be sitting in the back seat. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to happen. So that's just not realistic. So just based on that, yeah. Anyway. All right. So next topic of conversation. Which team would benefit most by LeBron James signing with them? Now, we have 4 teams, I think, in the vie for him was the 76ers, Cleveland, Golden State, and Miami. So which of those 4 teams would benefit the most by LeBron James signing with them? Go ahead, Jack.
Well, why are you narrowing it down to 4 teams? That's not the
because
question.
Those are the 4 teams he wants.
Well, which are the 4? Wait. You don't know what team he might sign with. I mean, you have an inside track. I have more of an inside track than you do with anyone. I mean, I'm
his
friends with Max Kellerman, who does this podcast with Rich Paul. I could call Max up, not that Max would tell me, not that Max necessarily knew, but Max would talk to me.
You dropped the ball, Jack, because apparently you didn't watch Rich Paul sit down and discuss who his LeBron decided he wants to be with.
I did, but it changes. It changes.
Okay. Well, let's see what Jack got. Let's see what magical, whimsical communication Jack is going to give us.
I'm good. You know, the answer on the surface might be, you can name a few teams. You can name San Antonio veteran leadership. You can name the Sixers. He's really intrigued. You know, but there's a dark horse that all of a sudden is come out of nowhere that no one's mentioning. And I don't think Rich Paul has mentioned it. Okay? A real dark horse. The Washington Wizards. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy because if AJ DeBonster is a monster, you like my poetry, okay? And if he's the next big thing in the NBA, the next superstar, LeBron's going to join him, Trae Young, and his main man, Anthony Davis. He loves Anthony Davis. He does. LeBron and Anthony Davis are very close. And Anthony Davis, I know we're going to hear the same stale line, well, he can't be healthy, this and that and that. But if Anthony Davis stays healthy, he's one of the best players in the NBA. If he stays healthy, it's a big if, but it's an if with everyone. It's an if with LeBron, whether age is going to catch up to him. So if you just focus on LeBron, we say if he still has enough left in the tank, if he hasn't held off all the time. Trae Young needs a guy like LeBron to micromanage him. Trae Young is a great talent. The problem is he's had no veteran leadership to rein him in. And if the Bonster is as great as they say is, and didn't Chris Middleton, he's coming back to Washington, right? Chris Middleton, a veteran who could really contribute. And when LeBron looks at that, I'm going to reunite with Anthony Davis, who I absolutely love. I got the best rookie in years to come out of the league. This Monster is going to be great, and Trae Young can be a real star. He could be kind of like, somewhat like Kyrie Irving was to me. Wow, they got something cooking there, Washington. But the obvious answer would be the Philadelphia 76ers, because, of course, same situation. If Embiid is healthy, Jaylen Brown, Maxey, but you don't know what those egos in Philadelphia. There are no egos in Washington. There wouldn't be none, because the Bonstead seems like a good kid, good head on his shoulders. Trae Young just needs to be reined in, and LeBron can rein him in, and Anthony Davis and LeBron get along great. But A.J. Brown, is he going to like being third fiddle there behind, Embiid and Maxey, perhaps with LeBron there? Because A.J., Brown already talked about running his own team.
Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown, thank you. Jaylen Brown's already talked about being the guy on the team. That's what he wants. He doesn't want to share top billing like he did with Tatum in Boston. So I don't know, is that the best fit for LeBron? And of course, San Antonio or Wemby, he would be a beautiful fit there. He'd be a beautiful fit anyway. Be a beautiful fit at OKC. But I think Washington is the dark horse. No one's talked about it. Send him there. They got something going. And as your Detroit Pistons have shown, Brian, a team can dramatically improve very quickly. Okay? Very, very quickly, and go from doormat to contender. And that's what I think would happen with the Wizards. They'd definitely be an NBA championship contender if LeBron joined them, because I think the AJ DeBonster is for real.
I don't know where to start, Jack.
I surprised myself with that selection.
I think you did. You surprised us all. All right, so you said they would be cooking there. I think the only thing cooking is in your imagination is what's cooking. I just don't think that the Wizards would be anywhere close to being a good option with LeBron James. There's just not enough talent around LeBron James. LeBron James will be 42 years old in December. Mind you, does he bring playoff experience and championship pedigree? Yes. Does he bring poor deficiency in defense now as a player? Yes. And AD was definitely not happy with him in regards to defense, because one thing AD was pride himself was in defense, with superior defense. He was defensive player of the year runner-ups, and he's won. He wants defense. And so LeBron James, I'm not saying LeBron James doesn't want to play defense. He just physically probably cannot do it on day in and day out anymore. He used to be a defensive guy, a two-way player, great on both ends of the floor. That's just not the reality anymore. And to come there with a rookie, in what point of LeBron James's career has he ever wanted to play with any rookie? Never. Zero, Jack. Never. He was with Cleveland.
Bronny James.
I knew you were going to say that, Jack.
That's the exception. That's the exception. That is the only exception. When he went to go play with Kyrie in Cleveland, Kyrie wasn't a rookie. Kyrie had several years there already. When they drafted Wiggins there, Andrew Wiggins, LeBron James had his hand in getting that trade, getting him out of there. And they brought in Kevin Love. That's what happened. And he went, obviously Andrew Wiggins went, we know what the story was. 2016, they won a championship. That's not going to happen. LeBron James is not going to go to any team with any rookie. I don't care how good they are. LeBron James is likely to go play in Philadelphia. And I would say, and your question is, what team would benefit the most by LeBron James signing with that team? Philadelphia having Joel Embiid, Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey, and VJ Edgecombe in their respective positions, offensively, defensively. LeBron James as the power forward on a vet minimum, bringing championship pedigree, bringing playoff experience, bringing superior basketball IQ, boosting their economy, bringing playmaker experience. And again, the vet minimum, you don't have to pay him much. You're getting all that. Now, mind you, the downside, they don't have a bench anymore. They've lost a lot of players on their bench. His age, he's 42. He's not going to give you a lot of defense. Defensive efficiency at this point is very questionable. The circus that comes with him, he's gonna have a lot of baggage that comes with him when you bring him, no matter what team it is. It's gonna come with him. He's got cameras. This is presumably his last year. He's probably gonna have cameras filming his version of The Last Dance. So this is LeBron James we're talking about. So you got to take the good with the bad. I think the benefits far outweigh the clownish, buffoonish, and as Rick liked to say, goofy acts. I just think that LeBron could benefit them. And my second team would have been Miami, because mind you, if you didn't know this, Jack, they are willing to trade for Bronny James, as you just mentioned, and put him on a two-way contract if LeBron James is willing to come there and play. So there's incentive in that. I just don't know how what I just mentioned, everything with LeBron James would benefit him playing alongside Bam Adebayo and Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't know if they have enough on that team to have LeBron James where he is at this point in his career to benefit them. But to fit right in that position, I just think that he would benefit them. I don't know about Cleveland. I'm not sold with that either. It sounds good as a sentimental-ish thing. I mean, sentimental moment for LeBron to go back home and finish it out with Cleveland. But beneficial to win championships, the only team I can see right now where they would be that good with them on paper would be Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah. You're neglecting, though, the potential negative chemistry the Sixers could have with the personalities. Maxey and Embiid, I guess they get along, but they were the only two elite players, different positions. One's a little more down low play, obviously, Embiid. And Jaylen Brown kind of plays the way Maxey does. There might be a thing with the scoring, who gets the ball, and I know LeBron would play the point there, but who knows? I mean, Embiid's injury prone the way Anthony Davis is, but the chemistry is great with Davis and LeBron. They're good buddies. But and I understand what you're saying about a rookie, but if the Bonster's really great, if he's going to possibly be the face of the NBA, even if he's going to be that good, then again, they're wild cards. I mean, a conservative place for LeBron would be San Antonio. How could you go wrong there? You just blend in. They got all this young talent. The guys would look up to LeBron. Wemby is going to do his thing regardless. And, I mean, there are a lot of nice options out there for LeBron, put it this way, but it could backfire. You mentioned organization. The Philadelphia fan base could be pretty tough to deal with if things don't go well. At Miami, at least he's won them a couple of championships. They'll welcome him back. Cleveland will welcome him back. You
think LeBron James really cares that the fan base is going to, whether or not they can be tough on him? I mean, look at what LA did to him. No. Look what LA did to him. They were okay to him. No, first of all, I'll bring you another championship. Yes, exactly. But they still ready for him to leave and go. I mean, I get it. He's older.
The way Kobe was.
But Kobe was homegrown. Kobe was homegrown there. That's different.
That was part of it. That's why Cleveland would still embrace LeBron. They consider him homegrown, one of theirs. Miami doesn't consider him one of theirs, and LA doesn't.
But I think that LeBron can fit no matter where he goes, because if you look at the last season he just played with Luka and Austin Reeves, he was the third option. He made it work. He made it work no matter what. He figured out first of all, LeBron was trying to get AD to take over and be the guy in LA, and he would never do it. So I don't see him going back to play with AD ever again. It's just not going to happen because, again, LeBron understood his role was beginning to diminish, but no one would allow that to diminish. So he had to take over. Kind of happened last season. These two guys get hurt at the end, and LeBron James has to go into the playoffs by himself and had to step up. So I think LeBron James has not just only the IQ, but the ability to be flexible. And I think he will be flexible in that position in Philadelphia.
I had to agree with that a little bit. If you're going to go out, you want to go out with a bang. And Philadelphia, they're stacked already, even without LeBron James. And people got them penciled in as the Eastern Conference champions. So with LeBron's going to add extra, probably obviously a lot more championship pedigree, like you said, James. And, of course, the fact that he's got veteran presence. I agree with that. Although I think that he going to Cleveland, as much as nobody thinks that could be possible, I think it is possible. I think that he's got enough players on that team that they could make a run. And if he's on there, it's going to be coming to the point where they're going to need him more. And see, 76ers, it's like having a Ferrari. You already have a Ferrari, and it's glossy and it's brand new off the line. And then you're going to add a little bit more horsepower to it, or a little bit more, digital things to the car. But you really don't need it because you're going to get to the finish line anyway with the car. So, adding it is a plus. But does Philadelphia really need to add LeBron on there to get to where they need to go? I don't think so. I think it's just an added plus. I think that they can make it work with him. And as far as LeBron is concerned, I'd probably want to choose there because they might as close to guaranteeing a championship as there ever is. That's the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, he goes to Cleveland. He's going to have to put in a little bit more work because he doesn't have the roster that the 76ers have, but they do have a very good roster. They're a very good defensive team. And I don't think he has to struggle to say, oh, well, I got to play so many minutes on defense. No, he doesn't have to do that. You have to be the offensive presence. Let everybody else be the defensive presence around you. And that's something he didn't have in L.A. in the end there because everybody was more offensive than they were defensive. So I like it for the sentimental reasons too, him going back to Cleveland. And they can make a move. I mean, like I said, the Eastern Conference right now is starting to get a little tougher. A lot of teams are starting to build up and be contenders for the Eastern Conference championship. But at the same time, we still have they're still not as competitive as the West. So that's the thing that we have to look at as well. So the 76ers are built right now to take on anybody in the Western Conference because now to James' point, the bench is messed up. The bench is kind of messed up. So
yeah. And this is my point also. What adds to LeBron James? LeBron James is always about his legacy. What adds more to his legacy than to be a player that has gone to 4 different teams and won a championship on every single one? Mm-hmm. That would definitely do that. That's why I picked Philadelphia as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, which is a good selection, but there's several options who you never know. Like there's the Mavericks reunite with Kyrie and that superstar Cooper Flag. I mean, Mavs could be an option. I don't think he's going to pick them. Denver could be an option. I think they're a little long in the tooth. Of course, he's not going to Golden State because of legacy. He'd love to play with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and those guys. But he probably sees, they're not going to win a championship. We'll have a winning record. We might be a playoff team, but that would be about it.
If he went to the Golden State Warriors, they would be called the Golden Years Warriors because of the average age group there.
And the Knicks winning the championship eliminated them. Had the Knicks lost to the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals, he'd be going to the Knicks because he realizes, winning a championship with the Knicks would have been off the rails. But now if he goes to the Knicks and they don't win the championship, even if LeBron plays great, he's going to get some of the blame.
Well,
yeah, of course.
Unfairly.
I just think that LeBron, I mean, you can say, yeah, that he has the choice to go to any team he wants to, but in reality, you're not going to want to end your career as a legacy player on a team that's either rebuilding or is close. No, we don't want to be on a close team. We want a team.
Right.
We want to be on a team that's there.
Win,
we want to be on a team that's already got championship caliber written on them, and that would be those four teams. If you think of, well, Golden State, we're going to push that off to the side, but Miami Heat, they're a player. I think they got a couple players away from being a championship contender. They could basically win the Eastern Conference as well. You got Cleveland. You add him to that mix, they could be Eastern Conference champions, and you put them to the 76ers. Now, the thing that intrigues probably is more intriguing about the 76ers, they could be a championship team. We're not talking about Eastern Conference Finals. We're talking about a championship team. So that's probably what he's working with right now. I don't know if he's so much thinking about Miami as he's thinking about. I think if I was LeBron right now, I'd be thinking about Cleveland and the 76ers. Do I want to go out on top? That would be a 76ers choice. Do I want to go out and earn that championship for the city that I came up from? Then it's a sentimental choice. You got to understand these players are human too. They're thinking about this kind of stuff where their legacies are at, and legacy is strong with Cleveland. I mean, I know he doesn't have a very good rapport with the GM, but winning cures everything. So if he goes out on top of the winner in Cleveland, he's going to be forever a legacy. He's going to have like 3 or 4 statues out there by the stadium because that's just how it is. So, I mean, I don't know if that's and if he wins a championship with the 76ers, do you think they're gonna put a statue of him outside of the arena there? No, I don't think so. But Cleveland, he could get like 2 or 3 other statues.
I'm going to tell you right now, if he plays with the 76ers and wins the championships, he's still getting that statue in Cleveland no matter what. That's
You got any more there, Jack, for this?
No.
Okay. So we're going to go to the last debate question, which will probably just wrap up this show here. Who is the most dominant athlete in all of today's sports? We'll go with James on this. We'll give him the 2 out of 3 today.
Okay. Wow, man, is it my birthday? No, it was in March. Yeah, I know. So those of you out there don't know, I had to ask Jack this question because Jack has burned me a couple of times on some of these questions and not letting me know whether it's all time or today's current players. We're talking about certain things. But for you, those of you don't, I mean, you saw the question. We're talking about today's current dominant athletes in all the sports. There's a few, but I narrowed it down. I looked at Lionel Messi. I've looked at Simone Biles, believe it or not, Scottie Scheffler. But my answer has to be right now, it's just in baseball, and it's Shohei Ohtani. I just think that Ohtani has been that guy. I mean, ever since he left the Pacific League, he was dominant there. He came to the Major League Baseball, and he's been dominant the past couple of years, particularly last year. When we look at that run, that NLCS, when they were in there, let me see his performance. Particularly, he was able to win the World Series across 17 games. He batted 265 with 18 hits, 8 home runs, 14 RBIs, and 13 runs scored. And this is a guy who's a designated hitter and also a pitcher. So the first player since Babe Ruth in the fourth game of the NLCS, he threw 6 shutout innings, allowing only 2 hits and racking up 10 strikes. The first player to do that since Babe Ruth. And of course, those three home runs that he hit, he also was included as a leadoff and 4 RBIs. And he had how many home runs in the World Series? He had, 6 home runs in the World Series. So, and he right now, I know he's got a injured knee right now, but still, I just think that at his age and how big he is, how he's played at big moments. To me, I just don't see anybody else right now that's currently. We could talk about all time, but currently, right now, to me, he's the most dominant player right now in pound for pound in all sports. Maybe, I know Jack's going to bring something different, but I think it's Shohei Ohtani.
I mean, he's dominant, yeah, but the most dominant. Is he the best pitcher in Major League Baseball? No, he's absolutely not. He's absolutely not the best.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Is he the best hitter? Probably second behind Aaron Judge, but when Judge is healthy. Okay. Ohtani's absolutely a dominant type player. That I'm not going to argue that. But you look for a guy who completely dominates his sport. And I know you wanted to give us some stats to back it up. And if people are listening carefully, they'll go, wait a second, 265 batting average? Why even bring that up? That's not dominant. That's no pun intended, but that average is average. You know, Ohtani's a great player. You can argue one of the greatest ever in the history of the game. Certainly today, he is a dominant type of player because he could do it as a pitcher. But he's a DH. He doesn't play the field. Okay, so he's not dominant defensively, but you can argue that he's the best player in the game today. So I'm not shortchanging him. I look for a guy who completely dominates his sport unlike any other. And only one guy stands out who completely dominates his sport, who doesn't only win his competitions, but he obliterates the competition, okay? And of course, James, you're going to complain once again because every week it seems like I'm outsmarting you, but I'll give you credit. You don't make all the excuses that you could make, and I'm thankful for that. That's why we got a great relationship. But the one guy who stands out is the most dominant far and away is Joey Chestnut. Every July 4th, he obliterates the competition during the hot dog eating contest. Now, of course, you're going to come back at me. That's not sports, Jack. That's pathetic, you're going to say. You're going to laugh at me, and of course, you're going to have some supporters chime in and back you up and make jokes about me. But my retort is this, James and Brian. It's on ESPN. If it's not sports, ESPN gets their highest ratings July 4th with the hot dog eating contest. Why isn't that a sport? Quick eating. You're working the jaw muscles. You're moving the hands. I mean, I can say it's a sport. It's on ESPN. It's on ESPN as a staple. It's one of their big events, July 4th. It's one of their big events. And Joey Chestnut dominates those other guys. James, you would be, if you were competing against the man, the guy would have 70 dogs put away, and you would be you'd be on your third hot dog by the time you finish 70. That's how dominant the guy is. Joey Chestnut is the answer, the most dominant athlete in sports. And he's done it all these years, year after year. The competition doesn't even come close to him in the contest. And he said he does other things besides hot dog eating, other food type stuff as well. I'm just thought I'd throw that in there, but it's the hot dog eating thing that he's known for.
What does he do? Apple pie eating contest too, as well? I mean, come on.
We only care about the hot dog stuff, but that is, hey, listen, he's an athlete. Yeah,
how is it an athlete? What? I mean, these guys. He's sitting at a table eating hot dogs, man. I mean, I've seen guys in the Golden Corral buffet line that do just about what he's doing and don't get the
no
TV
one comes
coverage.
close to matching this guy. I mean, come on. He dominates. It's a contest. It's a competition, James. It's a competition that he dominates. You're sounding like Mac does with golf.
I was going to ask you if Mac were here. I was going to ask you if Mac were here, what would he say? And I was like, oh my goodness. I'm telling you, as soon as you brought.
think golf was a sport. Mac would always Mac wouldn't want to talk about golf. You know, I kind of remember too, when John Sterling had his talk show decades and decades ago, the great Yankee radio broadcast. I had no use for him as a talk show host, but I loved him as a broadcaster for the Yankees. He put down horse racing. People would call his show claiming that's not a sport. Horse racing with the jockeys. Like, what's the jockey doing? Is the jockey an athlete? I say, yeah, but you could argue the jockey just stays there. Maybe he cracks the whip once in a while, but I don't think you're allowed to use the whip anymore.
Well, the athlete is the horse, clearly. The horse is the athlete.
But
the jockey
is considered an athlete. I mean, these guys were labeled as athletes. Why not Joey Chestnut? What he's doing is as athletic as the jockeys are.
Yeah. I mean, but the athlete, I would still say that the jockey is almost like what a NASCAR driver would be. I mean, you still have to gear and direct the guy. I mean, so I give you that in regards to being an athlete. You have to have hand-eye coordination and make sure you're going in the right direction. But the muscle is in the horse, obviously. But the guy eating a hot dog, I mean, you don't have to be an athlete to understand how to like, because these guys don't they? I mean, most of them when they eat that many hot dogs, they take a lot of them, they'll dip the bread in the drink so they can soften it up and eat it a lot quicker and eat the hot dog. The biggest thing is eating that hot dog. I don't know. I'm sticking with Ohtani, and I can't say any more about that. I'll hand it over to you, my man.
Yeah, that was kind of wild, dude. That was wild, Jack. That's the second wild take of the show.
That Mac would disagree with hot dog eating is not a sport, but
yeah, it's not a sport yet.
But listen, he didn't think golf was a sport. Keep that in mind, okay?
Yeah. If I want to go off the rails on that whole situation of who's the most dominant athlete, I would have to say, if I'm, since everybody wants to go off on a wild tangent, it's not so wild, but it's
not everybody.
Not well, yeah. I would say Scotty Scheffler. The dude.
That's not so wild, though. That's not so wild.
He's been on that heater. He had won five majors in the span of 6 tournaments. He was an Olympic gold medalist in the golf for Memorial Tournament win. His third PGA Tour title is in his last 4 tournaments. Hasn't placed lower than 8th. The dude is doing Tiger Woods stuff.
They're comparing him with Tiger Woods right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I would say that he was the most today. That's what I'm saying. I like the Shohan and the Aaron Judge is a good one too. All three of those players right there right now are at the top of their game pretty much. So fortunately for Aaron Judge, he's hurt, and Ohtani's not going to be playing in the All-Star game, but he cranked off a home run last night. So those things.
But those guys, and let's just say those 2 players you just mentioned, they're in the mix for MVP every year. So regardless of what Jack want to say about him being a designated hitter, he's still in the mix for MVP every year.
Who dominates the position? I could give you a dark horse out of nowhere.
You didn't say position, though. You didn't say position. You said athlete. That's why I made sure.
Anyone who dominates during a game or whatever, week after week, that's the most dominant. I could throw a name at you like Trent Williams, an offensive lineman who no one can get by. I could just throw one out of the clear blue, and that's
Penei Sewell.
Penei Sewell gets beat now and then.
No, not no more than Trent. Penei Sewell is one of the top 2 offensive tackles in the league, Jack. Come on, man.
Oh,
He's
Jack.
real
Now
good.
you ain't
No,
got
he's
you ain't
real
gotta
good,
be you ain't gotta be
Penei
I ain't gotta be a homer for that
No,
fact.
no,
That's
no.
a fact.
Penny is real good. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna
That
argue
dude gets
against
high
that.
PFF ratings every year. I'm just saying, and I'm not trying as homer as I want to be. That's just a fact. Sorry, but
Fair
anyway.
enough. But I am not.
But
Neither
he's
one.
still,
I mean, Jack mentioned Trent. Well, I'm not picking no offensive lineman to
Neither
be
one
most
of them.
dominant.
Neither one of them.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
No. Yeah, I'm stopped short of that. Any football player really that we think is
No,
most
it was
dominant
hard.
right
I
now?
tried to find. No, not right now. There's nobody
right
that's
now.
like that's just like taking over.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to. I mean, usually to me it would be like if you had to pick football. To me, if we went old school game, it would be like a running back. I would say because it's our quarterback. I mean, you could say, but this quarterback you're protected mostly. Some guy that like say for instance, let's say someone that had a dominant year, like Adrian Peterson in 2012. No one expected that to happen, and you had no quarterback play, or O.J. Simpson when he had no quarterback play.
And they're unstoppable.
Yes, they were just unstoppable. That's to me, that's dominant. That's when you see a guy when there's nobody, what's coming, but you can't stop it. Like you said, you can't stop it.
Well, domination means you don't only win, you do it decisively. Like people look back, the only unbeaten team in the Super Bowl era, the Miami Dolphins, they were not a dominant team. The Bears lost one game, but they were a dominant team. Okay?
Absolutely.
And that's how I judge greatness to a large degree on the level of dominance. I mean, some teams just barely get by, and that's great. They win a championship that way. They're a great team. They show a lot of character by winning a ton of close games. But the truly greatest teams, the most dominant ones, they beat the competition with room to spare, unless they're meeting someone close to their caliber. Then it might be a close game. That's understood.
Again, that's teams. That's teams. We're talking about individual athletes. I can throw
and it's hard. It's hard to pick football, but to me, when you look at someone who can do it on multiple levels, let's just go the year that Lamar Jackson won his first MVP. That was a very dominant, but he's not playing like that now. But I mean, I'm just saying, giving you, for instance, it's hard to pick a football player because it's hard to be
it's a
year in
sport.
and year out. It's a team sport, exactly. That's why I didn't pick a football player. It was just hard.
I mean, if we're talking historically, Babe Ruth was so much better than everyone else. That's dominance. The one year Will Chamberlain got 50 points. They didn't win the championship, but he was the most dominant player by far, when you put up numbers like that.
And
LeBron James is one of the most dominant all-time athletes. It's just, but it's hard to really pick somebody that. I mean, ultimately, we speak here on our debates. We're giving opinions, but it's just they could be substantiated with a lot of stats and facts and different things like that.
I mean, two other athletes I could probably mention in that same breath too is Carlos Alcaraz, 5-0 in Grand Slams finals. He has 3 consecutive Wimbledons, 6 major championships in the last 12 Grand Slam events. That dude's been dominant in that field. Hey, let's as much as we try to leave out the WNBA. Who do you think is the most dominant player in the WNBA that doesn't get talked about a lot?
A'ja Wilson. Yeah, for sure.
And she dominates that league. She dominates that league, even though there's other players in there that come in there and try to make it a celebrity thing. But A'ja Wilson is the most dominant player in the WNBA right now. Yep,
4 MVPs.
Mm-hmm. So you can't argue with that either. I mean, it's different athletes.
I mean, tennis,
if you really want to pick out a football player.
Yeah,
Miles Garrett is a dominant player.
Who?
Miles Garrett.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to pick out a football player.
No, for sure, absolutely. And there'd be a great debate question about whether or not he'll shift the Super Bowl trajectory with that team the fact that he's with the Rams now.
Yeah. Well, on that note, very good questions, Jack. Once again, had a great time. We will see you again next week at 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, everybody have a great weekend and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.